When she failed to report the next day, a search got underway that involved every Royal Navy ship at port and at sea, and US and Navy ships who were in the area at the time. Hopes were raised when some sound signals were heard that could have been from banging on the hull. In hindsight, these were probably the noises of the searching ships themselves. The search was called off after 3 days, but it was another 2 months before the submarine was found in a largely upright position in nearly 300 feet of water here in the Herd Deep, just off Alderney. The only clue to what might have happened were that the diving planes were in the fall to rise position and the snort mast was bent backwards and sheared at the hull. The snort mast was to become the centre of the official verdict. In the many years that have passed, more information has become available. There has been criticism of the lack of the normal full workup for the crew. There were concerns about oily contamination of battery compartments before the submarine went to sea. And other A-class submariners will testify that a similar incident in another submarine of the class could have explained away the loss of a submarine. Now, none of us gathered here today are likely to ever know the exact details, but certainly the fact that the submarine was located some distance from its expected position understandably leads us to question what really did happen that day. The fact the submarine, which is now an official war grave, was never recovered only added to that uncertainty. But that is not what today is about. We are not here today to find answers. We are here today to commemorate the loss of 71 submariners and 4 Royal Marines. Family men, brother submariners and Royal Marines. Men who went to sea on the fateful voyage to do their jobs and learn their trade. It is right we gather here to remember them. This plaque, dedicated to them, will serve for the years to come as a lasting memorial and also a reminder to future generations of the deeds undertaken in the past on all our behalfs. We salute the men of HMS Affray, and we shall not forget them. Thank you.
I'll now ask Brigadier John Russell of the Alderney branch of the British Legion to come forward and place his wreath. Thank you.
Banner bearers, carry standards.
Now, if the relatives would like to come forward and place their wreaths, please.
He's still at the back. I'm trying to signal him up here.
Come on.
Yes, I would love to.
A lot of people have asked me what's been my involvement in HMS Affray and did I lose anybody on board? Actually, no, I didn't. My father had been a crew member. He was a leading electrician's mate on the Affray, but he'd been sent away as part of his training onto another submarine. So on the fateful day, he wasn't aboard. So he lived to tell the tale. I was minus 2 years old at the time, so I wouldn't be standing here before you if things had been otherwise. And he recently passed away on January the 9th, and he would have loved to have been here, but unfortunately that's not to be. But I'm sure the crew are thinking of us. And I'm grateful that you could all come. I'm grateful to the States of Alderney for facilitating the arrangements of the planning permission and getting the job done. To local people, especially Heyman Architects, who designed all the arena that you see before us, and local contractors, James Walker, who was the building contractor, and Lance Vorden. Where are you, Lance? Yeah, there he is. He was the stonemason who did all this hard work. This is 6.5 tons of Portuguese blue limestone. Sorry, granite, I beg your pardon, granite. All of it locally made and crafted. And I hope you can enjoy the amenity and the benches here, which have all been sponsored. These are all new, and all the paving's all been done. So my thanks to the local workmen of Alderney and Guernsey and the States of Alderney, and to the crew of the Affray. I'll say I'm sorry you had to wait 61 years, but we did it in the end. Thank you very much.
The submarine sunk 61 years ago, and when it sank at the time, there was a lot of doubt about actually what really happened to that submarine. And I think that the families today have had some sort of closure. We still don't really know what happened to the submarine. It was never raised. There were certainly questions about why the submarine was not raised. Was the Ministry of Defence at the time trying to hide something? I can't possibly comment on anything like that. I don't know. It was long before I was born. But I think today we have here this memorial, and you can see by the expression on the faces of many of the families that they felt this was a fitting memorial to their loved ones who were lost.
History has not been very kind to the story. There was a lot of controversy at the time about how it happened, accusations of sabotage and Russian spies, and it hit a mine, it hit a ship. When it was discovered, it was only the snort mast had broken off, but that might have been as it hit the seabed. My father's view, he was leading electrician, thought it was battery faults, and hydrogen gas being given off by the batteries caused CO2 poisoning, which would have been actually a swift passing. So it's nice now that we can, put all this to bed, so to speak, and the men have got the memorial that we've been waiting so long for, and I'm sure they're appreciative.
You're the widow of?
Lieutenant E. John Treleaven, and he had been in the battleship HMS Vanguard. You know, the one that took the Queen and the princesses to South Africa, and they only had the very best people on that ship. So I was surprised when he decided to be a submariner, but it was his wish, because he knew they were going to be the capital ships of the future. And indeed they are the capital ships of the future.
Well, I mean, my father's been going on this for years and years and years, and I've being the youngest of the family, I've only sort of recently started understanding about it, as Martin was getting so much involved with it, my brother. But it meant a great deal to my brother and to my father as well. And I say I've only recently sort of joined learning about it, and it has become very emotional. It really has, yeah.
How would you describe the scene here today?
It's been beautiful. It really has. I mean, the turnout has been fantastic. It really has. I mean, last year there was only a few of us, my dad, Martin, but it's just snowballed. It really has. You know, unbelievable. It put a lump in my throat. It really did.
We've had memorial services in Portsmouth, Gosport and so on, but actually being here so close to Affray and having this monument looking out actually towards where Affray is lying, it meant more than anything. And it was, if my mum was still alive, she would have loved to have been here, and it would have been bringing everything full circle.
Well, it was the end of a long wait. We've waited 61 years. And it was about time, I thought, that we had some acknowledgement from the Navy. They never apologised for losing our men. They knew it was a dodgy submarine. They were having battery trouble. My husband, John Treleaven, had the first leave period, so when they went out between the 1st and the 14th of April, he wasn't aboard to do a deep dive. He wasn't aboard to train with a team. And the only way you keep your trim in a submarine is not to lose the bow end going down suddenly, crashing you to the bottom. So you must keep your trim. And so there were reasons they knew that it wasn't going to be a good training program.
It was your grandfather who served on HMS Affray, wasn't it?
It was. Grandad, or otherwise known as Herbert Allen.
Why did you want to come today?
I wanted to give my respect to all his 75 friends, and I felt like it was my honour to do it, really. And also because my father organised it all, I felt I wanted to help out and say that I did something. So I was pleased.
What did today mean to you?
Oh, well, it just meant triumph, I think. Triumph that we've got through all those years. And I feel particularly happy that I married again and had a lovely life and 4 children by my second husband, a GP. But I've never forgotten John, because he was very special. Like, first love is very special.
Martin's worked so hard to pull together everything. We had the beautiful weather, we had a lovely orchestra playing, we had the right people there. He's just worked amazingly hard to bring it together, and I'm so proud of him and so proud for what he has achieved. This monument is something that we've been looking to get for some years now. There's never been a proper way of recognising it, and Martin has just basically pulled it out of the hat. It's wonderful.